Tour Pro Tuesday.
Is that what we do on Tuesdays?
That's right. We are back inside the lab today because it is Tour Pro Tuesday, and guess what? We have Jonathan Vegas.
Jonathan Vegas.
Snaps his winless streak of however long it was. Have you ever seen the way they spell this guy's name?
It's not normal.
It's not a normal spelling. Jon Rahm won for the first time on the LIV Tour. I would love to see Jon Rahm back in some pants and playing 4 rounds of golf on a more frequent basis, wouldn't you?
We miss him.
I miss him. I do. I know that a lot of you at home may feel otherwise, but listen, Jon is fun to watch. And you know what? Jonathan Vegas did his thing this weekend at the 3M, so congratulations to him. And I know a lot of you at home struggle. I know I've struggled with this. With those 3-footers, those 4-footers, those 5-footers under the gun, making those putts. And playing professionals make that stuff look pretty easy. If you've ever battled with putting woes, then you know that it's a very dark, dark place to be. And you want to be able to build a putting stroke that helps you make putts under pressure. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be talking about putting. For the first time in MyGolfDNA history, we are talking about putting.
First time and not the last time.
Here's a trivia question for you all at home, and Jace, you're included in this one. What is the single most important thing when it comes to putting that you have to train first before everything else?
You have to train first before everything else. Centeredness of contact.
That's a very good answer. What's your answer at home? Write it down in the comments below. Because we understand that we have devices like the Sam Putting Lab that tells us that we have to have the putter face perfectly square. We want to hit it out of the center of the club face. But there's one thing that a lot of you at home lose sight of. No pun intended. That's right. Your eyes can play tricks on you. Your eyes are the most important part of building a putting stroke. Today, Jason and I are going to head out onto the putting green, and we're going to show you something that some of you have seen before in the past, and some of you may have not have seen it. And you're going to get a bird's eye view as to how important this feature is to have in order to start developing your own putting stroke. And I think it's probably pretty safe to say when you look at the history of putting, some of the best putters that ever walked planet Earth, from Brad Faxon to who else we got? Ben Crenshaw, the great putters of the game.
Tiger Woods.
Jordan Spieth. We see all of these great putters, and what do they have in common?
Nothing.
Not one person is doing the same thing. Different length putters, different putter grips, different ways to hold it, different weighting, toe balanced, straight back versus straight through, arc strokes. What is best for you? It comes down to one very important factor. You can do anything you want if you get this one key feature right. And that's what we're going to step outside and show you today. Let's get to work. Now, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a big favor. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post that up below. And if you are brand new to the channel, do me a big favor and head down below and hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up button for us as well, because it gives us a little bit of a warm feeling inside that you like our videos. We're going to do something that's going to rock your world because I think it's important. 1, 2, 3. We're going to try to find a straightish, find the fall line here. Okay. Putting. There's probably about 12 million different ways to putt the golf ball. And there's probably about just as many short game gurus out there that have different spins on how to putt better. But I'm going to teach you the most important thing that you need to start out with when it comes to the game of putting, because what you want to understand is that we have technology that tells us the most important pieces of what goes into getting the ball to roll perfectly in the direction of which you aimed, getting the ball to roll end over end the best way possible. We have all of that stuff figured out. But one of the things that we haven't figured out and we always lose sight of is how important it is to train your eyes to look in the correct spot. Now, a lot of you have actually seen me do this drill in the past, and a lot of you have seen this tool. If you have not yet seen this tool, this is what we call the triangulator. You can find this at Seymour Golf. I'll link it in the description below. It's for 10 bucks. It's a piece of plastic that's got a string on it. I'm sure that you guys can figure out how to make it at home if you don't want to spend the 10 bucks. But this is the most valuable tool that I have when it comes to putting. And the reason why I find this to be the most valuable tool is because these guys did a study 20 plus years ago that was fascinating information. And the information that came out is that they had 100 golfers that were 14 handicaps or better on a 10-foot dead straight putt, and they asked all 100 of these golfers to line up their putter in the ball so that it was lined up in the center of the hole. Now, out of those 100 people, Jace, how many people, and this is 14 handicaps or better, so that's a lot of people playing some pretty decent golf, right? Out of those 100 people, how many people do you think lined the golf ball up in the hole?
I'm gonna say at least 20.
20. So write down your guesses at home right now or put it in the comments. And if you've heard me, then don't put your answer down there. If you know this study, then don't put your answer down there. But the answer is 4. 4 people out of 100 lined the golf ball up on a 10-foot putt that was dead straight in the hole. The other 96 people lined up the ball or lined up the putter so that it was outside of the hole in one direction or the other. What does that tell you? Well, that tells you that all of these players have now embedded some sort of imperfection in their stroke to offset where their eyes are looking. Think about that for a moment. We know with the Sam Putting Lab that the most important thing that we can do is hit the golf ball in the center of the club face and have the club face perfectly square to be successful. But if your eyes are looking in a spot that you think is in the center of the hole and it's one side of it or the other, then you're always going to have a compensation built in. Let me show you how this thing works. We're going to test Jace out here.
Okay.
So we have a 10-foot putt. What we want Jace to do is we want him to go through the entire processes that he would use on the golf course and line up, assuming that this is a dead straight putt. And we're going to check to see his alignment.
I like to use my line when I'm putting. All right.
Okay, once he gets all set up, I'm going to ask that he does not hit the putt. And I'm going to go ahead and have him move out of here. Don't move at all. I'm going to put this on the front of your putter. Try to hold very still for me. So you feel like that's lined up in the center of the hole?
It felt like it was.
Okay. All right, so let's check to see how we did. So now we're going to take this string. So I know I'm really bad at cameras, and I am standing in the way here so you can't see exactly where Jace is lined up, but he's lined up on the left edge. And so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to take the triangle and we are going to put the string in the middle of the hole, and we're going to adjust the triangle so that it's perfectly pointed in the direction of the center of the hole. And then we're going to start the next step with retraining the eyes. Out on the left-hand side, what do you think he has to do in his stroke in order to get the golf ball starting directly down Broadway? Well, he's going to have to develop some sort of push, or he's going to have to leave the face open in order to offset that. So the way that this thing works now is we're going to take this string, we're going to come back down the center of the triangle, and I'm going to ask Jace, or I'm going to take this to the center of the hole, I'm going to ask Jace to take that one tee out and line it up so now it's in the center. Put the tee back in. And here's what I like to do. So now we got to start the processes of retraining our eyes. But we're going to get the golf ball out of the way here for a second. And we're going to stand behind the hole here for a minute. We're going to kind of get comfortable with the idea that we're looking straight down Broadway here. And I'm going to go ahead and have Jace come up, and he's going to put his putter face on the back side of the triangle. So it's perfectly pushed up against it. And now all he's going to do is he's going to start taking his eyes and moving down the line and looking at the center of the hole. And he's going to do this for several minutes on end. He's just going to keep looking back at the hole, coming back and forth. Then after he's done this for a few minutes, give yourself a little break, reset, and redo it. You're training your eyes now to start looking in the correct spot. Come back up. Jace, does it feel a little bit weird to you?
Honestly, Chris, it feels like I'm aimed to the right now as opposed to what I felt like was the center of the hole.
Yep, exactly. So there you go, is that he feels like he's lined up a little bit to the right outside the hole, when in fact we now know it's in the center. Now, something else that you can do once you start to go through the processes of changing your eyes or retraining the eyes is now you can come to the front of the triangle and you can stick a golf ball just in front of it. Put your putter up behind that for me, please. Right up behind it. And you can have the line come off the back of the triangle right through the back of your putter and know that, hey, you're lined up in a pretty decent spot. Or you can start the processes of putting a chalk line on the ground if your superintendent or your golf course allows you to do so. Using a chalk line is great because it's going to help that process to know that, hey, I've got the golf ball lined up in the right spot. I know that I need to start it down that line. But having a chalk line there is only half the battle. You need to check your eyes periodically to know where your alignment's at. And this is a great starting point for a lot of you at home before you start trying to change the technicalities in your stroke. I get this question all the time, is like, do you believe in a face balance putter versus a toe weighted putter? Do you believe in a straight back or an arc stroke? And my answer back to them is that if you look at the history of putting, the best players in the world that ever walked planet Earth, that have putted well, what do you see that's in common? Nothing. You don't see anything that's in common. You see different lengths of putter, you see different style putter heads, you see all of this stuff that they're doing differently. Now we have aim point, we have all of these things that are more or less just distractions to the subconscious, just getting you, or distractions to your conscious behavior really. We want to make sure that we have a practice program that's going to help us benefit to take to the golf course. And it starts with your eyes. Your eyes can play tricks on you. Not anymore though. Pick up a triangulator, use it, check your eyes, and make sure that you start the processes of getting the ball started where your eyes are supposed to be looking. And then from there, if you have off-center hits or your putter face isn't square, then we can start working on the technicalities of the stroke. We'll see you guys in the next video.